I've neglected, actually, before hitting the record button, I've neglected to bring you in on breaking news and information.
Neglected to bring me in.
Yeah, this is how we operate.
So I've been here for an hour and a half and you're telling me this now.
Well,
you wanted to save it for the podcast.
I didn't actually, but I've remembered that we should have discussed it. Do you remember what we teased last week?
Yes.
Do you?
The live show.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can officially confirm we have a date.
It's on.
We have a date.
Yep.
And we have a location.
Okay.
And we have a mechanism for people to get involved.
Fantastic.
So we will be holding we'll be recording our last podcast of the year.
Yep.
Live in a live environment.
In person.
With around 30 to 35 people.
Yep.
And
pretty limited.
It will be at the Paramount Pictures screening room in Piermont, Sydney.
Yep.
On December the 17th.
Which is a Wednesday.
Wednesday evening.
Yep.
The plan is, kick it off at about...
We're going to have a meet and greet.
5:30 or so. Yep. People can come along.
Meet and greet.
Let me pitch you an idea for the meet and greet. Okay?
We're doing this live on the show. Shouldn't we have done this before?
No. So obviously we've got to supply some drinks and some nibbles for people, right?
Yeah,
so
there'll be Diet Coke and Diet Sprite. That's all good.
Diet Sunkiss.
Diet Sunkiss.
That's exactly my pitch to you. Only 2 drinks available.
Yeah, Diet Coke and Diet
cans
Sunkiss.
of Diet Coke and cans of Diet Sunkiss.
What the two blokes
Sunkiss,
drink.
no sugar.
Yep.
What do you reckon?
Absolutely.
And there'll be water maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Why not?
That's only 3 drinks available. Water.
So no alcohol.
Diet Coke.
If you want to drink.
Sunkiss, no sugar.
If you want to drink, you go to the hotel around the corner.
Yeah.
Have a drink before you arrive.
There'll be packets of chips. Like it'll just be chips in a bowl. Like it's not going to be... I'm a bit worried though. I've just realised. The plan is a meet and greet style situation, and then we'll duck off and prepare, and then everyone will come into the screening room, which is kind of a separate to the meet and greet area.
Yep.
And it's a theatre, right? So it's where they do
theaterette. Actually.
They do screenings of movies and things, right?
For press and for other people. Yeah.
Excuse my throat. And so we'll go, and that's where we'll do the show.
Yeah.
It'll be an audio only recording with someone getting the job of bootlegging.
Yep.
It'll probably just be a tripod, okay? But it's going to be a bootleg. Not a multi-camera shoot.
From the back of the back of the theatre.
And I'm just worried because we're gonna meet and greet, then we're going to do the recording, so that's going to go to like 7:30 probably, and then. There will do a live private, which will be an Ask Me Anything.
Oh,
Isn't that what we decided?
Yeah, we're going to have a Q&A.
Yep. And then the opportunity exists for us to do a screening of a Paramount Pictures movie. We won't talk about what they are because we'll get to that in the
so
lead up.
Like a surprise for them on the day, or are we going to reveal the movie?
Well, we've just told them now.
No, but I mean what the movie actually is.
I think once we lock that in with Chris and the good team at Paramount Pictures, we can announce that.
Of course.
But I just thought that's going to go late. We're going to have to put dinner on, or do we just idea?
Yeah.
Do we just after the private?
Yeah.
Do we just get a bunch of pizzas delivered, like just 20 pizzas?
We could do
whatever.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Probably.
Like catering wise, I don't really.
So
want to go hard.
Before the movie or not have a movie?
Before the movie.
Yeah.
And then
so
go out, grab a pizza,
movie.
have something. Like here's 20 minutes, eat, and then watch a movie.
I reckon that's a great idea.
We'll play that out. So, here's the thing. We had a lot of ideas about this during the year, but we've decided to keep it excruciatingly simple.
Yeah.
There are only 30 to 35 seats. Depends on how many other people come with us, like our families, let alone
well, I'll have a plus one. I think Joe will come. Will Amanda come or no?
Yes, mate. I doubt it.
Are they ever going to meet? Our wives, okay, just so you know, our wives, we've been doing this for 15 years. Our wives have never met each other. They know of each other, but they've never met.
They know of each other for sure.
Yeah, they've never met.
So the tickets, shall we call them?
Yep. Free tickets. So it's first in. What's the mechanism? Describe the mechanism.
The mechanism is
you need to write in 25 words why you should be coming. To demonstrate your listening, how long you've been listening. Think
of it like a judged competition. I mean, let's be real. We want a mix of people whose names we recognise because you've been such a long-term listener, and people that are just
we want to reward your
quiet
loyalty.
fans.
Yeah.
So I've set up a simple form. It's just a Google form. There's nothing to it.
So we'll run it on my side and your side, or just
it's at twoblokestalkingtech.com.
Okay, there you go. Yep. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
All you got to do is go to twoblokestalkingtech.com.
Yep.
You will get the form.
Fill it out.
And look, if we get 100 people filling it out, that'd be amazing.
So it's Two Blokes is TWO.
Doesn't matter. Either the number 2 or TWO. Okay. We've got them both.
Yep.
Fill it out. If we get 100 people, that'd be amazing, and we will go a bit of drawing out of a hat, bit of, we got to have him, whatever.
Okay.
And if we get 20 people, then we'll still do the thing.
Of course. Now, look, let's just say we're going to go ahead no matter what.
Yeah.
If we get 10 people or 40 people, we're still going to do the show.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
We may not video it if there's 10 people.
Well, maybe not. But look, if we get 100, it means next time there is a room to get a larger venue.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So
we might end up at a core stadium.
Bottom line, being first doesn't mean you get in. Being the wittiest in the comments, because we're asking you to say something about the show.
So we're going to judge it.
We're just going to judge it. We are going to choose.
Drop your name too if you've been sort of interacting
you have
with
to put
us.
Your name.
Drop your name heavy. Like just remind us that we've
your name, your phone number, anything that we should know. Let us know. To be clear, it's in Sydney. It's in Pyrmont.
Yes,
it's going to be at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Like if you work
on a Wednesday
and you miss a bit of the meet and greet, who cares? The podcast recording will start at around 6:15, 6:30, and that'll be locked doors. Not locked doors, but you can go for a pee. But we're not going to have people arriving late. Yeah. So if you can't make it on a weekday, we apologise, but that's just when we're doing it. But critically, if you're in another state, it's up to you. Well, we're not funding. This is not a competition where you win airfares and accommodation.
You get a free entry into the venue. That's all you get. We're
and
not going to fly you in. And a Diet Coke
and an Aero bar
and maybe a pizza
at best.
Yeah,
maybe a couple of slices of pizza and some garlic bread. And if you've got dietary requirements,
we're also working.
We're not catering for it. I'm sorry.
I'm working on some prizes as well.
We'd love to have some prizes, so that'll be a bit of it.
From Netgear and Arlo and our
other
friendly companies that we've been working with will hopefully offer us some prizes as well.
We'll see what happens. So we got a bit of time. So we got a little over a month. It'll kick in a week after the kids' social media ban, so that'll be a fun. That's definitely going to be the topic of the night.
Topic of discussion.
I can tell you right now that's what we'll be discussing.
That's it,
because it'll be literally a week and one day after the thing kicks in. So. We can write the rundown now. But look, looking forward to it.
That's the first run up to the break anyway.
It'll be a bit of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great.
And thank you to Chris from Paramount for pushing us. Because honestly, we're lazy and useless and busy. We're busy and distracted.
I did bring it up to say, and you went, last thing on my mind, I think, was your response. There was a lot of things going on in your world, as is always the case, but I'm glad that I reminded you that we have a sense of duty to our listeners.
I think the World Series baseball was responsible because we sat and watched the game last week and we had time to go, what about this,
that
what about
gave us time to nut it out.
Normally we just have lunch and then get back to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it might be covered in the private, but let's go Dodgers. Well, I should have worn the jacket today. Jesus, what am I doing?
Oh, what did you? Your normal LA Dodgers, not your World Series champion back-to-back jacket. You haven't got that yet.
That hoodie
is that in the mail?
That hoodie will arrive in a couple of weeks. Yes.
Oh, really? You've ordered it back-to-back?
Yeah, back-to-back. Yeah.
What about a hat? Get a hat as well.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
What about the hat?
There's a lot of merchandise available at MLBshop.com.
No,
it won't ship to Australia.
What? Mm-mm. Oh, well, I've had that issue, as you know. So,
and then you have to go to, let's say, Lids, and they don't sell it all. So I just said to Jacko, mate, we'll get a jumper each, and when we get to America in a couple of weeks, in December, end of December, January, for the CES, we'll go to the Dodgers outlet store and we'll find some stuff. It'll be fine.
Will there be any left, mate?
No, they'll be selling World Series back-to-back merchandise through next year.
Forever. Yeah, of course.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So when does the season start again? And not
end of March.
Okay, so too long to wait then. That's pretty good. It's a long season, eh? It goes for a while.
179 games.
Wow-wee.
The Dodgers played 179 games.
Yeah, I really got into it. I was watching it every game. I watched it. It was great. It was such good theatre. Don't you reckon?
I have great respect for the number of people that were Instagram DMing me or texting me going, how's your heart rate and stuff like that. One of my favourites, to be honest, when was the game? Sunday, was Ruslan Kogan. Texts me on Sunday morning and goes, I'm not normally a baseball fan, but because of your ambassadorship, I'll be watching Game 7 today.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And then he said, pretty incredible after the game. He said, pretty incredible. I've been to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. This is like going into double overtime. So, yeah, it was
very dramatic. Yeah, it was great.
No, it was great. We might discuss it more in the private. You never know.
I'm pretty sure we will. Yeah. And the other postage to Australia.
Other
drama.
Issues. Yeah. But a reminder: 2 Blokes Talking Tech
live in person.
Go to the form. It's just a Google form. Don't think we've spent money by designing a website. No, we haven't. We've owned the domain name for 15 years and never used it.
Yeah.
I just redirected it to a Google form. So it might take a few seconds for it to click over and redirect. Trust me, it'll work. 2blokestalkingtech.com. Fill in the form. and hopefully we get enough people to fill the seats. And if we get more, it'll be a kick in the arm for us. A lovely little
we'll
shot
keep you in mind for the next one.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
If you don't get selected for this one,
you'll be first up for the next one.
And you choose,
at a bigger venue.
And you choose to subscribe to the next one, you'll be first in the list for the next one. That's
so
fair.
Is this like the Beatles' first concert in the Cavern?
This is in the Cavern.
You reckon there's the Cavern? Is this the equivalent of the two blokes in the Cavern? The Beatles, and our next show could be at some bigger venue.
Horden Arena.
Yeah, Horden Pavilion.
Horden Pavilion.
Know. What do you reckon?
Enmore Theatre.
Hey,
I think
I'm
you're
up for
talking out your ass.
Well, mate, we might be surprised. There might be 50, 60 people want to come to this thing. Just the meet and greet would be enough to get people through the door. One potential
change to the event. If we only get 3, you can sit on the couch here and we'll just do the show here.
Sit over there.
Chris, if we don't get more than 3, we're just going to have them come here and sit on the couch.
Right. Or have we already put a deposit down on the venue?
No, we haven't
done anything.
No, we haven't done any of that. But I have got the quote, so we're all good.
Yeah.
It's all within budget.
Fair enough.
All right, enough chit chat. Two Blokes Talking Tech.com. Remember that, folks.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Not a bad price.
With Trevor Long from EFTM.com.
Really handy device.
And Stephen Fennick from techguide.com.au.
Great to have your company. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're on the YouTube version, great to be with you. Episode 707, Stephen.
707.
We should work out, actually, just quickly, before we move on.
Which one the live show will be?
I'll tell you now, because we're one behind. It'll be 713.
713.
713 will be the live show, and that'll be the last one for the year.
We're
taking
a
713. Couple of week hiatus after that.
Yeah. Summer hiatus.
Thank you to the wonderful people at Netgear and Arlo, to whom Stephen is going to reach out and
yes, we're going to try and get some prize packs,
whether or not
sort of give you an added incentive, a little reward for being there,
a little something.
You know, apart from just seeing the two blokes in the flesh
and getting a Sunkist no sugar.
Come on, that's reward in itself.
Exactly.
But we also might walk out with a little goodie bag.
You never know. You're in a big city. So yes, thank you to Netgear and Arlo for that. Okay, a topic we've covered almost ad
infinitum.
Yep, here on Two Blokes Talking Tech and on techguide.com.au, on EFTM.com. But it's the hot topic for the next month and a half, really, is the kids' social media ban, otherwise known as the Social Media Minimum Age Legislation, SMMA.
Yeah.
The interesting thing today, so the E-Safety Commissioner came out with a list of recommendations for sites that should and should not be included in the legislation.
Yep.
The federal minister, Annika Wells, then took that and published a press release listing those sites. There are actually 9 sites on the list, and the big kind of news this week is that Reddit and Kik are part of that list.
Yep.
Now, Threads is also on the list. The government didn't list that in their press release, but on the eSafety website.
Yeah, right. Because that wasn't part of the big ones, was it? Although it's basically another version of Twitter, isn't it?
Exactly, right? Now, it's interesting because a lot of people said today, and the way it was being kind of reported, was that these sites had been added. But in fact, the government has never announced any platforms other than YouTube being part of this. So the only platform that's ever been mentioned in essentially legislation or press releases as being part of this social media ban are YouTube, because they were originally given an exemption and then they were not.
So what are you saying that because it was just assumed that people knew?
No.
Facebook and
the legislation doesn't mention a platform. It just talks about age-limited platforms.
Right.
And then, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, that flow chart, remember the flow chart I went and found?
That's what I was going to say, because you called it.
Yeah.
In that time, when you were going through the list, and you said, well, Reddit's got to be part of that as well, and here we are, Reddit's included.
I don't remember doing that, but thank you for pointing that out.
Well, go back and listen to it. You said, you went through, it was like 7 different points.
Yes.
You said, well, under that, then Reddit's got to be in it too.
And I have I've published that 7-point checklist on EFTM.com as well.
Yep.
Look, the fascinating thing here is that, as I said, this is the first time we've had a list, but it's a very narrow list of 9 sites. Now, Facebook, Instagram, all the obvious ones are there, but let's just talk about Reddit and then Kik for a minute. So Reddit is a online forum is how I would describe it. Yeah, do you remember back in the day, like in the late 90s, I built a forum on not on the 2GB website for Mike Jeffries, the announcer at 2GB back in the day, on his own website. It was a forum, and people could just write a topic and other people could reply to it.
Yep.
And we had to shut it down because it was just wild. Like the stuff being said was wild, so we had to shut it down. Because, who's liable for what they say and all those kind of things, right? Reddit is a forum because you can go there and say, here's a great article I read about this and link to the ABC or Tech Guide or whatever. And then a bunch of people can comment on that.
But it's also a place where you can ask a question. Like, I'm having trouble with this. How do I go? Or I'm looking to buy this. Where can I find it? And then people reply.
I've bought this enormous thing in the US and I can't ship it to Australia. Any ideas? I'm restoring this car. Take a photo. Does anyone know how to fix this?
Yeah.
So then it does. That
comes up in search a lot when you ask questions.
That verges heavily on social media. Ask a question, get an answer, community answer, that kind of thing. But what it doesn't have directly, I think that excludes it from social media, is it doesn't have a following. You don't follow people. You follow topics, not people.
It's like threads. It's like the topics, the subjects.
But what it also has is an enormous amount of pornography.
Yes, but you've got to be registered to see
unbridled pornography.
Well, so does X. X is porn.
I've honestly never come across it on X because I just follow a small number of people back in the day.
Yeah.
But you obviously have a different following. But no, my point is that it's great that it's banned for kids because kids shouldn't be on there. But is it really social media? And does this mean that any website that has an online forum...
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you've got a forum... Like, I remember starting Tech Guide 14 years ago, and I had a forum.
Yeah.
There were all different topics, and it was popular early on. It eventually just got hacked in and just was rendered useless.
Yeah.
And I decided, let's just cut it. But that was my exact question. Like, how many other sites and other areas of the internet you can go to and have this back and forth? So you're right. Does every platform or every site with the forum now be considered social media?
Yeah. So this is remember, this is not in the legislation. This is the e-Safety Commissioner making recommendations to government. And what they do is they've said to help the e-Safety Commissioner, to help the online industry and the public, prepare for the minimum age obligation. E-Safety has considered whether certain services are likely to be age-restricted platforms and therefore, helping educate the industry. And they've said Facebook, Instagram, Kik, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, X, and YouTube are included.
Yeah.
So interesting that they mention Threads, but the government doesn't. I think that's just an oversight. But then you go to Kik.
Yeah. Which is that's a stream video platform.
Kik is, you would describe it initially as a game streaming platform, right? If you're a gamer that's playing Call of Duty or Minecraft, you might live stream on Kik.
And so other people can watch what
your gameplay as well as a picture of you, and you talk about it, you get people's comments and all that kind of thing, right?
How is that different from Twitch and other platforms? Yeah.
Exactly. Why is Kik on here and not Twitch? Kik is newer than Twitch.
Is it a matter of time then before they go, hello? Just like YouTube, they get the tap on the shoulder.
And let's be clear, if you were to ask the e-Safety Commissioner or the Minister, they would say this is just a guidance for the industry. So what I would take if I'm the head of Twitch is they've guided us that kind of platform is, and we need to instigate the rules. So the government's answer and the e-Safety Commissioner's answer is this is just guidance.
So you're saying that these platforms have to assume that it applies to them?
It's on those.
It's on them.
So it's on Twitch to sit and look at...
Which is a bigger platform. Is Twitch bigger than Kik?
Yeah.
Twitch is massive.
Well, it's diminished a little bit because Kik took over and it pays more revenue and stuff. But anyway, it's on Twitch to look at that 7-point flow chart and go, do we, yes, no.
And so you're saying it's going to be self-exclusion?
That is the rules. The rules are self-exclusion.
And so...
There's important information about these lists. These lists reflect eSafety's views as at the 5th of November. eSafety will continue to update this list prior to the obligation coming in.
Okay.
And a service being listed... Here we go. A service being listed does not necessarily mean that the service agrees with eSafety's views. So Kik...
Naturally.
...could absolutely say... no, according to every part of your 7-point timeline, we are not primarily this, we are not primarily that. We are primarily a video streaming platform.
So could you think this could potentially end in maybe court?
There will absolutely be court cases.
So, but from what you're saying, though, so the platforms like Kik, you mentioned Kik, and obviously Twitch is the first thing that comes into mind as a comparison to that. Would it be that they would have to consider themselves, look, let's read these rules. Is it worth us being on there if we're going to risk a $50 million fine?
Exactly.
Is that how it's got to come down to?
Well, we've already...
So it's not a matter of the government saying, you're out, you're out, you're out.
No.
Or you've got to decide for yourself.
That's correct.
Because the government could then retrospectively decide, hang on, what are you doing still here with this $50 million fine?
Exactly. It's entirely about the platforms.
So it puts it on them.
Correct.
Wow.
Mate, Annika Wells on the Today Show this morning said... It's not up to parents to need to know this stuff. It's up to the platforms. I'm sick of hearing the government say it's not up to parents. Parents are, and we said this
before. They're cutting us parents out of the loop, mate.
Parents are cut out of the loop. Parents have no idea this is happening. Yeah. Look, I work in mainstream media. So do you. We work on the fringes. We work in social. We work everywhere in this media landscape. But to assume that every under 16-year-old and every parent knows this is happening, first of all. Yeah. And I said that, I think, in one of my articles. So I had someone text me this morning on Facebook. Someone go, just so you know, I've seen the ad for this on free-to-air TV several times. Yeah. And I've gone, mate, I don't watch free-to-air TV through free-to-air. I watch it through streaming, so I'm getting different ads to you. I've never seen the ad.
I haven't seen that either. I watch both. I watch free-to-air and streaming.
Why are these ads? Mate, if I get another ad to meet trans people on TikTok, I'll lose my mind. What? It's ridiculous. What? And it's becoming a meme. People going, hey, TikTok, I don't need to meet trans people online. Why isn't the e-safety commissioner spending as much money as whoever the hell is sending those ads out?
Wow.
Like, how much money is the e-safety commissioner spending, or the government, on advertising this on the actual platforms? To the parents, to the kids. Mate, I'm sick of reading the comments on my videos going, well, that's not true, and this is... Mate, it's misinformation. So let's just play with Kick, for example. Kick and Twitch, right? Because it's on them, and this is just guidance, right? Is it an electronic service? We'll do the checklist again. Is any of the material or the service accessible to one or more people in Australia?
Yes.
Does the service allow end users to post material?
Yes.
Does the service allow end users to link to or interact with other end users?
Yes.
What is the purpose of the service? Does the purpose include enabling online social interaction between two or more users?
Yes.
Step 6. Is the social interaction the sole purpose or significant purpose?
No. There's a grey area there, isn't it? Because social, it's like, Twitch and Kick the example, right? It's like
it is, isn't it?
It's like going to the footy and you're watching the footy, right? Do you interact with other people sometimes? But you're there to watch the game.
Well, you've set up a live stream of your astrophotography.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you can Kick can be anything.
You can
right?
do anything. Yeah.
So you're doing a live stream on this.
Yep.
Are you setting that up? Are you streaming so that you can talk to other people about it, or are you doing it as a educational?
Perhaps, but
okay. So then,
but isn't the whole reason to do that is for people to comment and you can respond?
So we're saying
we've done live streams where people are commenting in real time and we're answering.
Yeah.
So are we part of this too then? You know what I mean? How grey is this?
So are we saying that it's the social interaction is the sole or significant purpose of that?
Then no. Would be not the sole, or it'd be significant. Mate, how broad is that? Sole or significant?
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Sole or significant. That's so grey. You know what? A lawyer will tear that to pieces in court.
Yeah.
So sole or primary purpose, well, mate, everything is going to be banned then.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you the question then, right? Let's talk about EFTM.
Yep.
Is the service electronic service?
Yep.
Is it any material accessible to or delivered to end users? Yes.
Yep.
Does the service allow end users to post material on the service? Well, you can comment, can't you? They can comment on your stories?
I'm only on my Facebook page.
So you know, what about in your app? Can you? No. You can't.
No, I don't allow comments.
Do we allow end users to link to or interact with other end users?
Am I a no then? Do I leave the flow chart
you
at that
would.
point?
You would, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it only one of these steps? That if you'd answer no to one of them, then you're out. You're out. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're out.
Yeah, I'm out.
So you're good. Wow.
So then let's read on what I don't think has been widely reported today. This is again the e-safety commissioner. Services that the e-safety commissioner considers will not be restricted.
Yeah.
I'll go through the obvious list, but I'll come back. YouTube Kids, good result.
Yeah.
WhatsApp, interesting. Steam and Steam Chat.
So WhatsApp's exempt.
It's not part of it. It's primarily a messaging platform.
But hang on a minute. What about the channels?
No comments.
That's what saves it.
But there is interaction. Thumbs up, thumbs down, fingers. You could have emojis.
So you're saying it potentially you could be saved if you turn off the comments in some of these.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Roblox. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Messenger. How do you have Messenger? Facebook's banned, but anyway.
Exactly.
Lego
right.
Play, Google Classroom, which had to be exempt because kids are using it at school. GitHub, which I don't think many kids are using, and Discord. The two that I want to call out there, or three, Discord, Roblox, and WhatsApp. So we talked about WhatsApp a little bit, but WhatsApp is where kids are going to go. So, channels, there's channels and there's groups, right? So channels are like Formula One has a channel with millions of, and that's just them posting stuff and people can thumbs up, thumbs down. I got a channel. People can read articles, thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't consider that to meet the obligations.
But they can't comment? Can't they just make it? They can't. It's just thumbs up, thumbs down. It's purely reading your material and that's it.
Emojis is the only response you can make.
Right.
But an emoji can be a Palestinian flag. You get a lot of those. You might get a middle finger as well. But it's not interaction between users. Probably going to be the thing that excludes it.
Right.
However, a kid, a 15-year-old, could create a WhatsApp group. In WhatsApp, you can have up to.
Yeah.
I tried it once because I looked at this as when I was building the EFTM app. I'm like, should I spend this money on an app or should I just create a way of direct messaging my audience? And you can only have 250 people in a group. So if I got everyone's phone numbers, you can create a group of 250 people. I think is the limit.
Yep.
So that's like a whole year at school. Like that's all of year 9 could be in a group.
Yeah.
That could go wild
On WhatsApp.
That could be wild.
Yeah.
By the way, all talking.
So that's the other question I got. So could the band's going to force people to go elsewhere, right?
Correct.
And so the movement to those other places could develop them into a social media platform and then they'll get banned.
Without them even knowing it.
So
but remember,
if they did what you say, so if they create a WhatsApp group of 250 people and they're interacting and it becomes like a little mini social network, could that put the WhatsApp in danger?
I think this is the challenge, right? It doesn't, because WhatsApp is never going to be listed as a platform.
Yeah, so
it's not up to the government to list them. It's up to who's it up to actually to go. That's not right, and then start finding them.
Yeah,
like it's up to the E-Safety Commissioner, I assume.
Wow.
So that's WhatsApp. Roblox, okay, actually by the 7-point measure doesn't meet the standard.
Right.
But it's because it's a gaming platform mainly, that would be their primary function. But if you talk to parents with bad stories about Roblox,
I've heard the horror stories.
It's because they get bullied, they get what are they called? Groomed. There's all this stuff happening on there.
But hang on, so how doesn't that? What stops it from being
primary purpose is just playing games. It's not social interactions. Its primary purpose is just playing games.
Well, can't they argue that the chat is a primary part of it now, the interaction with other people?
I think Roblox would have a pretty fair case to say we make all of our money through games and selling gaming downloadables. Mate, they would win in court in a heartbeat.
Like could Kick or Twitch perhaps turn off features so they don't qualify?
I think what will happen. They'll
turn off the comments.
Is they will put, if you want to sign in to make a comment, you got to have an account.
You've got to be 18. You've got to be 16 or over.
You've got to be 16 or over. That's what will happen. Because look, none of these companies want to go to court, let alone a $50 million fine.
But think about it, mate. Kick and Twitch, you guesstimate the percentage of their audience that's under 16.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mate,
I mean, it'd be high.
Is it half?
No, it wouldn't be half, but it'd be 20%.
You don't reckon? Mate, the majority of the audience aren't 12-year-olds on there watching gamers?
Yes, yeah, probably.
Mate,
you're right.
I reckon it's a massive percentage. If they had that data, I'd argue that Twitch and Kick's probably a bit more for younger kids, would be half the audience.
Yeah. Mate, that brings us to Discord. Yeah. So Discord is on the list of services that the E-Safety Commissioner considers will not be age restricted. Now, Discord, in the last few months, did implement some age verification tools, I think, to test how it would work and how they would introduce this. Yeah. And according to several reports this week, they got hacked and the age verification data was obtained. Wow. So that's not a great look. But Discord, and this is definitely something I called previously, is where kids are going to go. Now, Discord will argue that their primary purpose is messaging, which is excluded. Yeah. Okay?
So they'll go to Messenger.
But Discord was set up, if you don't know, let's say we're playing Call of Duty.
Yep.
In a little
games out
clan
this
or
week.
whatever.
Yeah.
And we set up a Discord channel for the Two Blokes Call of Duty group, and there's like 100 people in it. We're going to start a lobby now. It's that kind. That was the
Come
kind
and watch Steve.
It was a
kick Trevor's
cross-platform. It was a cross-platform collaboration thing. So if you're on PlayStation, I'm on Xbox. It was just a place to easily have a chat and everything, right?
Yep.
But it's become a place where someone who's a crypto dude trying to get people to buy crypto and teach them how to buy crypto, we'll create a Discord channel to give you advice and all that kind of stuff. So people join communities. There's probably sovereign citizen communities. There's probably, hate communities. There's probably lawn mowing communities. There's every community, right?
Yeah.
Kids are going to create Discord channels.
Yeah, but
and they're gonna share videos. Some 17-year-old kid will be in a chat with a bunch of 16 and 15-year-old kids, and they're gonna download a video of TikTok and share it in Discord. And they're going to talk about it. They're going to see it. They're going to see the whole content.
They're going to be exposed to it.
And then there'll be, let's say there's 30 people in a Discord group, and then one of them gets booted out by the admin.
Yeah.
And then they all start, talking about this kid.
Yeah.
And that's bullying. There's a whole level of bullying, and they could plan to, mate. That's the biggest problem.
Because Kick and Twitch and all these platforms, not everyone that's on. Say someone's watching me and you play Call of Duty, and there's, let's say, 5,000 people watching the stream.
Wow, we'd be doing very
great.
well.
But what percentage of that would be from Australia?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So. How deep in the weeds do they have to get? Are they going to look at IP addresses and how do they know who's on the platform?
Well, that's what they need to do. They need to geo. This is a geo thing. They have to stop Australian users from having accounts on Kick.
And so then my next question is, with the mention of VPNs have been brought in, right?
Yeah.
So is it possible that a kid, 14-year-old, who's into his gaming on Kick and wants to watch his favourite gamers, would it be possible to set up a VPN and pretend you're coming in from the US? Would that be detectable?
I mean, yes, it's totally possible.
Yeah.
And again, the minister on the Today Show this morning said kids are buying alcohol today. They're smoking cigarettes. We know that kids are going to get around it, but that doesn't stop us having the laws to prevent them from doing it. And I accept that. That's brilliant. But let me just give you a couple other things that I've firstly, I'll get to some e-safety stuff in a second, but I think it was NPR reported this week that they had found weird amounts of comments on a 5 or 10-year-old radio story online, comments in the comments.
Yeah.
Just kids they were having a conversation, not about the radio story, just because it was an open forum.
Because it had a forum.
So kids are going to go.
Just send a link and say,
they'll just
chat
text
here.
each other a link and go, let's chat here. That's what's going to happen, right?
Do you have comments on your EFTM stories?
No.
You don't?
No.
Really?
No.
I don't think I do.
Too hard to moderate.
I think I turned to
It's a pain in the ass. Too hard to moderate, yeah. So, E-Safety Commission, a couple of little dot points under their guidance, right? E-Safety will not be considering every service before December 10. E-Safety continues to focus on those services with the greatest number of Australian users under the age of 16 and will consider, among other factors, the service's use of features and functions associated with the risks of harm to children. Where possible, E-Safety has also considered services that have reached out to E-Safety following self-assessment. But then they go on to say, and this, folks, just capture this for a minute. E-Safety does not have a formal role in declaring which services are age-restricted social media platforms. In the absence of any rules made by the Minister of Communications specifying a service is either an age-restricted social media platform or not an age-restricted social media platform, any determination that a service is or is not age-restricted is a matter for the court. So basically they're saying,
whoa,
unless the minister publishes a list,
right,
all we're doing is saying, here's what we think, and go to the court.
Yeah. If you don't agree with it.
If the platform or the government, who's finding these people? Who's making the decision?
The fines are up to 50 million. Who can pull the trigger there? Is it the E-Safety Commissioner themselves?
It's, mate.
Or the Communication Minister?
Honestly,
who's in charge of that?
I continue to think that this is laughable.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate. Once this gets going in just over a month, isn't it, before it kicks in?
It's 5 weeks exactly to the day of recording.
Wow.
I'm just looking at the Honourable Annika Wells' press release. Because what I just said about
the Communication Minister.
Yeah, the Communication. Remember what the E-Safety Commission had just said. In the absence of any rules made by the Minister. Now, the only rules that have been made to suit this are broad, and they note that YouTube is not exempt. It's the only mention of a platform, right?
Yep.
Her press release today says E-Safety has assessed these platforms as age-restricted social media platforms. This means that from December 10, these platforms must make reasonable steps. That's actually broadly not what the E-Safety Commissioner did. The E-Safety Commissioner did assess them as likely, that they consider it, but they haven't made a rule. The government needs to make a rule.
Yeah.
Like, they're
but isn't the legislation the rule?
No, the legislation doesn't list any platforms. The legislation, the legislation came in 12 months ago, right?
Yeah.
And the online rules only came in a few months ago, which don't mention platforms and only remove the exclusion for YouTube.
So basically the legislation is saying you know who you are, people. You know who you are.
Yes.
So that's up to you.
Yep.
Okay.
Isn't it wild?
Well, what are the chances of Facebook, or so let's say Meta, turning around and saying, no, see you in court?
I mean,
we're going to challenge it.
It's probably pretty high.
Because, mate, 50 million to Meta is nothing, right? They're going to think, okay, we'll go to court.
Yep.
And do you don't reckon the seven steps there can be? A lawyer could argue about 98 different things with that.
I'll take that back. I don't think the biggest guys will do anything. I think Meta,
they'll
TikTok,
just cop it sweet.
Yeah, I think they'll cop it sweet because they know that these kids are going to come running back.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
So it's basically just put a 3-year delay on it.
Which is
the age was 13.
Remember that was the campaign. 36 months. Give them more time. And every minister and spokesperson will say this is not a ban; it's a delay. Excellent, but unless you're delaying access to a mobile phone, you're not helping the problem.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
That's what they should have done. Was say kids shouldn't have smartphones. They should only have dumb phones until they're 16, so they can communicate with their parents.
But that's is that?
But if you wanted to have an impact, that's the only impact you're going to get.
But we live in a free country, though.
Yeah, well, not
we live in a free country where the parent makes that decision.
Well, yeah,
about the phone. Like, you know what? You gave your kids a phone at whatever age that they were. I gave them at mine. It was my decision as a parent. The government there was no guideline. You know why there's no guideline? Because you can't make a guideline.
Yeah.
That's up to the parent and it's up to the child. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
And so that's what sort of hits me hardest is that they've made a one-size-fits-all decision about banning people from social media. And whoever came up with this age of 16... Why? Tell me why 16 is the magic number.
Yeah.
Why isn't 15 the magic number or 17?
18.
Yeah. Why?
Well, like a lot of the platforms talk about how 18 is an easier number because it's actually kind of, even on Apple iPhones, it kind of knows whether you're 18 or not. Like there's a lot of little things in devices that help with that.
But it's someone's opinion that's ruling the roost here. It's someone's opinion that 16 is the age that, oh no, we've got to make it till they're 16. And okay, well, I disagree with that. You disagree with that. And a lot of people disagree with that. And maybe some people want it older. But how we came up with 16 is a mystery to me.
When the mainstream media all go on holidays over Christmas, when the ministers for every portfolio are on a break over Christmas, all this is going to happen.
There's going to be hell to pay.
And parents are going to be confused.
Left stranded, mate.
They're not going to know how to stop their kids. Their kids are going to be on new platforms.
My former employer, News Limited, was a massive campaign. This was a massive campaign.
They claim this legislation.
And I know Ben English, who's now the editor of The Telegraph. He was very instrumental in this too, and good luck to him. He's doing what he thinks is good for the newspaper and for the country.
Are they doing what they think is right for the country, or are they doing what they think is right for the business?
I don't know how many readers the Daily Telegraph have under 16. Probably not many, but it is not virtue signalling, but it's them wanting to show that we're standing up for parents and for the right thing, and we're doing that. I mean, I've been involved in many of those campaigns when I was working there myself, and the thinking there is that we need to set the agenda, and that's what they're trying to do here.
100%.
And when it came in, then it became a political thing. you weren't going to get in a million years the coalition saying, "Oh no, that's rubbish," because that would have been seen to be, "Oh, hey, what do you mean? It's you don't want your."
Because there
was no way for them to oppose it
because the headlines were about the most tragic of occurrences.
So we were kind of boxed in here.
I think Steve and I are both aligned on this. We want kids to be safe. We don't want kids taking their own lives. I don't want any of that to happen. I don't want bullying to happen online.
Yep.
But it's still going to happen.
It's still going to happen.
And I fear. Look, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong that in 10 years the rate of youth suicide has come down. I want to be wrong. I want to be, but I don't think I am.
Yeah. And people with knowledge in this area greater than us are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
There are experts in this field that are saying this is a complete waste of time. It's not going to achieve the objective of the ban in the first place. So the objective is it's not going to achieve it.
The biggest thing I hate about this, and I respect Whipper for his advocacy on this, but if I was him, I'd stop saying, we want them out kicking a footy, because kids aren't going to go and kick a footy. Yeah. If they're not already kicking a footy, mate, Amanda sent me a thing to buy, it looks like a cricket net, but for our backyard, because the boys are playing so much baseball, the balls are going everywhere. Yeah. And my boys play hours of backyard baseball, but they also sit on their phones for hours. Yeah. It's just the way kids are today. Yeah, I don't want to break it to you. Back in the day, we'd sit on Cartoon Connection for hours, and then cartoons in the afternoon, and then we'd go, it's not going to change.
You know what? It's not going to change the amount of time we spend on digital platforms.
I don't think so.
It's just going to divert it. I reckon, you know who's going to be the biggest beneficiary? The gaming platforms.
Yes.
PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, all those are just going to go crazy, because they're going to have, if I can't be scrolling TikTok and Instagram, I'm going to play a game.
Yeah.
So they're going to divert their digital habit to another digital habit. Yeah.
Look, we can't resolve it, but it's basically chaos, folks. Basically chaos. Yeah. Good luck and welcome to the social media minimum age legislation. We'll keep across it. As I said, our last show of the year is definitely going to be about this.
Oh yeah, well it'll be a week after it comes into effect. So
it's going to be absolutely.
You can watch it live.
Yeah, it's going to be literally crazy. So bring that on, folks. Here on Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported by our great mates at Arlo, and they've got a new camera to check out, the Essential Pan Tilt Security Camera. Now, I've got them up at my place, and so has Trev. These are a brand new camera that are added to their existing range. And as the name suggests, they've got 360-degree pan, 180-degree tilt, so you can actually have you can monitor a wider area. And the beauty of this thing, it has automatic motion tracking. So if you're monitoring a really wide area, say you've got a massive front yard or driveway, if it spots some motion, it'll actually track the motion. So the video captured will show that motion being tracked. It also has dual band Wi-Fi, so connecting it to your network is much easier. It's also, of course, weather resistant. If you're buying the outdoor version, it is designed to handle the weather. Still need power to the unit if it's outside, but the reason for that is because there may be a lot of movement and it would probably wear out a battery quicker than normal. But has all the same features, motion and detection alerts. You can actually set a home position as well, so if it does detect movement, it comes back to an area that you specify, so you can monitor that even easier as well. Still has clear colour night vision and also industry-leading data privacy. And, of course, can be included on your security plans as well, so you can get back up into the cloud and also all those smart notifications as well. The Essential Pan and Tilt, there is an outdoor version and also an indoor version. You can check all of those out and include them in your Arlo system, or start off a brand new one with these Pan and Tilts. You can check it out at arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
So, I stupidly, regrettably, annoyingly sat down and watched a Senate inquiry the other day. I don't know why I do it to myself.
Was that a Monday? Tuesday.
It's Monday. I feel like it was... I don't know.
This week.
I've sat through Senate inquiries before, because when I worked at SBS, it was part of my job. You had to watch what the boss was doing, make sure for answers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mate, so Optus, Stephen Roos, CEO, chairman, former chairman, head of different departments. They were all there. And here's the thing. They opened up with quite a lengthy statement, as regularly happens in these things, which outlined, again, their apologies for the incident, the Triple O thing, a broad understanding of what happened, how it happened. And then at the bottom of this document, it was a sort of attached document, there was I'm going to say 15-page timeline. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll show you, Stephen, because I just summarised it on EFTM.com.
I've got it in front of me, mate.
The document.
Yep.
The attachment.
Oh, no, I've got your timeline.
No, but the timeline that I published is tiny compared to what they published.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, they published everything that happened. So every text message that was sent, every Teams meeting that was sent. So
you summarised it basically, have you?
I just pulled out the bits that I thought were relevant to what we've discussed, like who's responsible, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So, like, from the get-go, one of the most transparent things I've seen in a presentation after such an incident, right? Because you remember the big network outage with Optus, they got ribbed for not providing this kind of information. So full credit to them for the amount of information here. And this is so detailed that it says, this is when they decided to do the bloody the update. This is when the update started. And what happened was the update started at midnight, and there was already some alerts that went off like 20 minutes in or something. And then they thought there was a problem. It talks about when the first complaint came through to the call centre. Yeah. All that stuff's there. Yeah. But, mate, for an hour and a half.
So hang on, just going by your timeline on your site. Midnight, the firewall upgrade commenced. 18 minutes past midnight, the first unsuccessful 000 call.
Correct.
So 18 minutes in.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
20 minutes, Nokia raised an incident ticket due to a spike in monitoring graphs.
Yeah. Like, that alone is alarming as all hell.
20 minutes in.
If you read, and please just take your time to read it yourself, folks, it's a lot to take in, but it's pretty detailed, even what I published. But broadly, what you'll read there is that the Optus broad management didn't know about this thing till like early afternoon, but the network team knew. Excuse my language from Uncle Trev. Knew shit was going down much earlier than that, right?
On,
They were having meetings and Zoom calls and team calls. There was problems, right? And
so just by your graph here, so 53 minutes past midnight, Microsoft Teams chat between Optus senior network engineer and major incident manager at Nokia.
Yeah.
So less than an hour in, they were having their own little crisis
chat. They were having major incidents like that. So that's critical, right? Okay. But fast forward to the afternoon. At 1:15 in the afternoon, the South Australian ambulance is getting in touch, and we knew this because Stephen Rue talked about this. Yep. The one that I think is kind of most fascinating is that there was a point somewhere in the afternoon where the CEO basically was told in a executive meeting that this was happening. Yeah. And it was like a minute later that someone started to call the federal minister and started to contact ACMA. So it's not like they failed to call anyone. Because remember, the big story here is that Optus didn't tell the government. They didn't tell the Premier of... All that's the big story that everyone's... And, mate, for an hour and a half in this inquiry the other day, Screaming Hanson Young, who is the most annoying person in Parliament, just screamed at these people. Screamed at Stephen Rue.
Why didn't you do this?
I'm like, love, he's an adult. Yeah. He's here. Yeah. He's being open. Yeah. He's cooperating. Why are you screaming at him? Yeah. It's rude. It's legitimately
I heard a bit of that. And
rude.
He actually came back at her and he say that she goes, why did you tell the board? And he goes, well, our corporate policy is the board has to be
so
told,
one of their big gripes of certainly the Labor ministers and Sarah Hanson-Young is that they were having conversations with the board, but they weren't having updates. So what happened was Optus told the government there was 10 missed calls. Yeah. Optus knew there was 100 later in the day and didn't update the government on that. Yeah. Now, what they also said many times during this questioning and in this report is there was many times where escalation failed. So the call centre didn't escalate to the management. Yeah. I think the network team failed to escalate, obviously.
Just on the call centre, the first call about the 000 not working was at 10:13 a.m.
Yeah.
So...
So if the escalation process that Stephen Rue put in place since then, that anyone calls and says there's a problem with 000, escalated, if that had happened, this outage would have been much less.
Nipped in the bud.
It would still have happened. It would have been much less though, right?
Right.
But here's my gripe. What I want to talk about today is my gripe is this whole friggin' inquiry, all they did was talk about why didn't you tell the minister that? Why didn't you tell the government that? Yeah. They didn't ask...
What was the problem?
No. Well, we don't even. We know it was a firewall. Yeah. Why did it happen? Because what we know right now is that there are 71 models of Samsung phone that have some 000 issues, right? Camping onto networks.
Yep.
We know that 11 of them can't be fixed.
Yep.
The number one question, because I think I wrote them down actually, the number one question I want asked is, of the 455 calls that didn't get through,
how many were on these Samsung?
What devices were they?
Yep.
Of the 455, how many of them were those Samsung devices?
Yep.
Based on investigations to date, is there any reason we should be concerned about other devices that are active on Australian networks today?
This is the problem.
And how do these devices get sold in Australia if they don't meet the standards of our 000 network?
All legit questions, but you're talking. These are politicians asking the questions. They're not the experts in the field. Shouldn't the inquiry be in front of the regulator?
Well,
shouldn't the regulator be doing this inquiry?
There is an ACMA inquiry.
Yeah, okay.
There is an internal inquiry by Dr. Kerry Schott at Optus, and this is the Senate with their own hearing.
It's like they're for show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what should happen is these people should shut the hell up and wait for Optus to present their full report from Kerry Schott and for what ACMA do and say. Because what's really fascinating is it's not clear whether they breached the ACMA regulations. Because the ACMA regulations are when there's an outage, you've got to tell us, and then you've got to tell us when it's over.
Well, if you don't know there's an outage, you can't tell us.
Correct.
Now,
the issue is it's very clear they knew there was an outage because the network engineers were working on it.
Right.
So I think they will get breached because clearly people at Optus knew there was a problem.
So at what point, remember how in the early press conferences, they didn't follow the steps? So
that's in the first 2 minutes. That's basically in the first minutes, right? That's where someone failed to follow correct procedures, right?
But that's not in the timeline because it's.
That's just because in the timeline they're not saying what happened; they're just documenting when things happen.
It reminds me like what you're suggesting. They're asking the wrong questions. Do you remember a show we did on the movie podcast called Rising Sun with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes? Do you remember it?
Not really.
It's set in Japanese corporation. There's a murder, and the whole movie's about the difference in culture between Japan and the US and how they do stuff. And one thing that stuck out to me was that Sean Connery told Wesley Snipes, he goes, the Japanese, they fix the problem, not the blame. And you're sort of intimating that's really what we should be doing. We should be digging down to it, not who did the wrong thing on the day.
That's right.
What happened so it doesn't happen again.
Again, Sarah Hanson-Young and others are saying, why aren't you resigning? Who's been sacked? Who's been sacked?
She said to him, how are you still in your job? Really?
And the chairman, John Arthur, steps up and says, listen, he's here to fix this stuff and we'll get it fixed. But what also happened was they're saying, who's been sacked? Look, Stephen Roux said, when we get the full report, there will be consequences.
Of course.
Now, look, there's some people that look pretty well in the firing line. Should they be? Because, let's say the government affairs team who are responsible for telling the government, should they be sacked because they didn't update the government every 5 minutes? I don't think so. Yeah. Should they be sacked because they didn't tell them earlier? No, because they didn't know about it earlier. That's what worries me.
Stephen Roux said that. He goes, how can I tell someone something I don't know?
At 2:51 p.m. on the day of the incident, the Optus CEO was advised of the 000 outage during an executive committee meeting. So basically, the exec committee's together and they're told about this.
So he didn't know. Stephen Roux didn't know till 2:51 p.m., some 14 hours after the problem started.
Look, I don't want to say that as a quote because there's you got to read between the lines on a lot of this stuff. But here's my point about that. 2:51 was the executive committee meeting. Yeah. At 2:52, 1 minute later, the government affairs emailed the Minister for Communications.
Right.
And
sent a text message.
At 3:17. ACMA was advised of a significant network outage.
So within 40 minutes of that
team knowing
executive committee meeting.
But the question is, should the network team who knew about it far earlier have alerted them? Probably yes, so they'll be in breach. I think that's how it turns out. That's my summary.
Reading the timeline here too, I'm just looking at here. 2:34 p.m. the outage was resolved. So 14 minutes after the rollback was requested. So the rollback was requested. So the outage was resolved. So from 2:34 p.m., people could ring 000 and connect, right?
Correct.
And so it's not until 20 minutes later that that executive committee meeting advised of the outage. So they found out about the outage after it was actually resolved. according to that timeline.
Broadly, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, because that's a summarised timeline, let's not be but according to the timeline, I'm searching the actual timeline now.
Yeah.
The words CEO don't come up until
2:51 p.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
there's
work
a lot
the
of other
network
weird
teams-
things going on, like they had the wrong email for ACMA and all these kind of stupid things happen, right?
Yeah,
So there's a lot of little failures. And look,
Yeah.
they also
what did he
all
say?
said,
The chairman said 10.
something like 10
in a row.
10 fundamental failures to escalate things, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's some problems, no doubt. But also they talk about, they had this poor woman who manages the call centre, and they were just hammering her about how, they were doing welfare checks. Weren't you checking on the welfare checks? It's like, calm down.
Check on the welfare checks?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
where were they at, and how didn't you know there was 3 people dead or whatever? And she said, this is unprecedented, okay? I think she said, and I don't quote me, but she said the most welfare checks we've had to do before were like, 20, let's say, or 10.
Yeah.
They're
This is
doing
4,
hundreds,
this is
right?
600.
So this was an unprecedented event that they hadn't planned for, they hadn't practiced, they hadn't, rehearsed. It's a bit rough.
What was the part? What were they talking about when they're bringing onshore? What are they bringing onshore?
It's a great question. So there's a bit of blame here on Nokia, and I tried to bring that out in the press conference.
But you name dropped them. But Trev name dropped Nokia.
Stephen Rue wasn't willing to throw them under the bus yet, but they're starting to throw them now. They're starting to throw them.
They're starting to get warm up their arm.
Something like 8 years ago, Optus outsourced their entire network operation to Nokia. They said so. What that means is what they call the NOC, the Network Operations Center, where big screen where you can see whether green and red lights when things are working and not, right?
Yep.
And so basically Nokia
Mission control
in India, in Chennai, are responsible for monitoring the network, managing the network,
Really?
dialing in and
In
fixing
Chennai,
things, right?
they do that?
It's literally offshore, right?
Wow.
Optus
Why?
has, because it was cheaper, obviously.
Okay.
Sack a bunch of network people and it's cheaper that way, right?
Right.
And Optus has confirmed that they're going to bring 150 to 350 jobs into the business, and the network operations centre will now be managed by Optus.
So not the call centre, the operations
Not
centre.
the call centre,
Right,
correct.
right. Because I remember during our chat with Mr. Rue asking about that and how. And so many of you've heard him, and of readers of mine and listeners of mine complaining about the Optus call centres.
Yeah.
And he didn't quite answer my question, but he did mention he brought up AI.
That's right.
And then he sort of said, well, we need to investigate why they're calling the call centre and do something about that. And, well, mate, if they're calling the call centre, there's something wrong.
Hopefully, with the greatest hope, I think we'll get to talk to him again.
Yeah.
After the Kerry Shot report, after the ACMA report.
Yeah, when the dust settles, for sure.
I have no interest in interviewing now because he'll.
No, of course not, mate.
Straight back.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we'll get him back on after the Kerry Shot report and the ACMA report, and because that question, exact same question again.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now, do you think it would be better if you had your call centres online in Australia?
Maybe.
But look, in the end, I think that. It's frustrating to watch politicians, and I'm actually going to. There was one guy, and he was a Liberal, but there was one guy who was asking questions that weren't directly related to timelines. They were better questions.
Yeah.
I am going to find his media advisor and say, listen. Call me. Because here's the thing. Here's how this works, by the way. The ministers or the senators are sitting there with iPads, right? And their miners back there going, ask this, ask that.
Yeah.
Mate, give me that iPad. I'll text them.
Oh, mate.
I'll give them some questions.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll bloody give them some questions.
Yeah.
I've got questions that Optus won't answer to us because we're in the media and it's kind of they can straight bat say it's under investigation.
Yeah.
But if a minister asks or a member of parliament asks it, they might have to give a different answer.
Here's my question. They see what are they like? They see us on TV talking about this. And,
don't get me started.
Why don't they tap us on the shoulder and say, look, what would you ask them? What are they? Would that seem to be like we don't know what we're talking about? Or, why don't they ask us? Imagine if Senator Hanson Young or anyone asked me, so look, I'm going to be. What question should I be asking?
Yeah, well,
I would have happily replied to that.
I'll say this directly to Senator Hanson Young.
Yeah.
I think you could have been more productive, not yelling and shouting about their communication.
But she's just trying to make a scene.
But what risk there is still to Australia.
Exactly.
And
right.
how these Samsung phones happened. Was that related to the 3G switch off?
Yes.
That could have uncovered so much more.
Well, mate, you know
Would it have been as good a headline, though?
One of the questions I put directly to Optus through our friends, through our common friend at Optus was, does this have anything to do with the 3G shutdown? And looking back on it, it could be.
It may well do.
It may well have been part of that. The 3G shutdown could very well turn up in what's her name, Kerry Shots.
No, I think it'd be the ACMA report.
Well, I reckon that's a factor now. Yeah, that was one of my first questions when this whole thing happened.
Yeah. Interesting times. My summarised timelines at EFTM.com. They're going to call them back. They said very clearly they're going to ask them back so they can ask them more questions.
Yeah.
The two blokes are available to all sides of politics.
I'd happily advise, whoever.
I'll advise
Labor,
the Greens,
Liberal,
Labor,
Green,
and I don't care because I want answers.
Yeah.
I want answers.
Yeah.
And
well, you know
I
what?
think
The
public
inquiry
deserve it.
is only as good as the questions that are asked. Like you want it to be productive, and you want something to get. You want to get something out of it. So
you want your blood to boil. Go to the APH website and watch it back. Because the last thing I'll say is he was Stephen was asked by one of them, have you spoken to the families of the victims, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I've said all along that I will speak to them if they want to speak to me, and I've reached out to the police, so that's his statement essentially. And they go, no, answer the question. Have you spoken to them? And he just kept repeating it, right? They got really, really shitty about it. And they're going, we will find you in contempt of this hearing if you don't give a direct answer. And he just kept going, I've told you my answer. I've spoken to the police. And so basically, they go
the answer's no.
They go for the privacy of the families.
Yeah.
We're not answering that question.
But he didn't want to say the word no.
Correct, because it could well be. Because if he's on the record saying no, that's a bad look.
Yeah.
But what if the families don't want to speak to him?
Yeah.
So, because I asked that question too at the press conferences, and now in hindsight, I think if someone in my family had died because that happened, I'd tell the CEO to get stuffed. I don't want to hear from him.
Yeah.
So it's quite likely
It's sensitive,
that the families have said no, and therefore he has not spoken to them. But he doesn't want to say, no, I haven't spoken to them because they didn't want to.
Couldn't he say that could the question be, have you tried to speak to them?
Well, he has, because he said...
So he has tried to speak to them.
He said to the police, I want you to know that here's my number. If the families want to reach out to me, I'm willing to speak to them at any point in time.
Why didn't he say that then?
That's what he said. That's what he said. He said, we've communicated to the state authorities.
But couldn't he have said, look, I've communicated, and if they want to speak to me, I'm available?
That's exactly what he said.
Right, okay. And they kept harping on that.
They kept harping on that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Who's the head of the committee? Who was the head?
Sarah Hanson-Young.
Oh, my God.
She's the chairperson.
Right, okay.
Couldn't be more annoying.
What, is she always the chairperson?
Yeah, because she loves the headlines, loves yelling at people and getting headlines.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's embarrassing that we have adults yelling at adults.
Yeah, I know, but the other adults doing the yelling don't know all the facts though. They don't approach it from the more appropriate angle.
Yeah. Two Blokes Talking Tech. That is what's happening with the great team at Optus.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
And Two Blokes Talking Tech, proudly presented by the great people at Netgear. And if you are one of those people that has the best network right now, the best internet, you've paid for this great speeds, you need great Wi-Fi. I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine who bought a new Netgear Orbi and couldn't get it working. It was because he unplugged the power to the wrong things, and I helped him get it working. And then he sent me
this person too?
No, he sent me a speed test, and I went, that's horrible. Like, I was worried. I was like, oh my God, I've recommended this product to him, and now his speed test is 26 down and 7 or 9 up or something like that, right? And this is not good.
Oopsie.
I said, can you log on to, because he's Aussie Broadband as well, I said, can you log on to the Aussie app and show me a picture of your plan? Stephen, guess what plan he's on?
100.
No, 2510. He was getting the exact speeds he was paying for. and he was on fibre to the curb, so he could only get up to 100. But I said, mate, you got to pay. You got to get better internet. And then this thing you've got is going to provide that internet everywhere. Your wife works from home. You're busy at night working as well. You're doing streaming. You're uploading. This is why you need better internet. So if you're paying for 100 meg speeds, 1,000 meg speed, 500 meg speeds, you've got to have a good network in your home as well. Netgear Orbi will provide that to you. You can get a range of products. There's prices to suit everyone. And each of them is a step up in every way for the number of devices you can connect, for the things that it can do, the speed that it does, the number of bands, and all these kind of things. But just know, an Orbi system is going to deliver better Wi-Fi than what that modem that came from the internet provider will do. So if you want more information, head to netgear.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
I wanted to wrap it up talking about the Hisense RGB mini LED TV.
Yeah.
Now, you spent a bit of time on the Tech Guide podcast, which you can listen to in the same feed, talking about the 116-inch Hisense TV and compared to Samsung's 115.
I did sort of make mine a bit of a battle of the big screens.
Q90F, is that what it is?
That's correct, yeah.
Which is a massive TV, right?
I think QN90F, yeah.
But interestingly, they're two very different TVs. They're both very expensive. Like one's $26,999 and one's $40,000.
Correct.
Inch difference in size. But what I thought was fascinating was getting to spend a bit of time with Hisense's RGB technology, because this is RGB mini LED. Samsung announced at IFA RGB micro LED. We'll kind of touch on that maybe next year when we start to see that stuff.
Yep.
But I get the sense that what we're going to see over the next 6 to 12 months is RGB mini LED being a premium tier for Hisense products across different sizes, not just $40,000.
So it's so just to explain what it is, RGB is red, green, blue. That stands for. So normally backlight it provides white light source, and then the color filter, like the quantum dot filter, then creates the color.
Yep.
So what Hisense has done, and Samsung announced an RGB mini at IFA.
Micro.
RGB micro they call it.
Yeah.
And they've announced that at IFA as well. So basically what the Hisense RGB and what the Samsung will do is produce the color at the backlight level. So there's no need to have the filter. We're producing, there's light, and hey, let's make the colour at the same time.
Yeah, so if you're watching a screen that is literally 50% black, 50% red, the black side there'll be no light, and on the other side it'll be red shining through the pixel, so you see red. And what it does is it creates a better colour range.
Yes, I think it's 95% of the colour gamut,
and a better
which normally is about 92% or low 90s. So 95% is big. That's massive. But RGB, red, green, and blue are basically, just to explain, the building blocks of all colours is red, green, and blue.
Yeah,
So how?
What did you think? Could you notice?
I saw
colour?
I watch stuff that I know really well.
Interstellar, I noticed.
I watched Interstellar. I watched Revenge of the Sith. So stuff I knew. I watched a bit of Netflix as well.
Seinfeld at 116 inches is pretty wild. I'll be honest with you.
But Seinfeld, it's only HD at best.
I know, but I wanted to see how it would handle the upscaling.
I went for 4K, and you could look. The colour is, you can tell it's the clarity's there. What you can tell too was that when there was like a really bright colour next to a darker colour, there was no blooming at all. It was so defined, So the light control to create the colour was. It's like having a dot matrix printer, right? So say you got the more dots in it, the better, more accurate. So having the RGB combined with the number of mini LEDs just made that even purer.
Do you think that, obviously, we're just going to keep OLED at the top because OLED is the best. It is what it is, right? But then consider all the other things from...
Well, RGB is as close to OLED as you can get.
Right, but leave OLED out for the moment because we don't want to say that it's how close it is. But what I want to know is how much better is it than what we had? So with than a full array, quantum dot, micro or mini LED TV today, is it a noticeable step up in colour quality? Because that was what will drive the sale of RGB TVs next year, I reckon.
Absolutely. It is, I think, especially if you're watching 4K content, HD, not so much, 4K you got to remember, because it's combining the RGB, so creating the light at the backlight source is amazing, but then the AI comes into play as well to optimise and upscale.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I'll just check. I'm certain that during IFA I did a TikTok. Yes, I did. That had. Oh, sorry, it got loud. That had a picture, like it had the RGB, so you could actually see the backlight. I actually recommend you look at that because I think I might have published it at EFTM as well. You could see they'd taken the panel off essentially,
and you could still see what's happening.
You could see the white, shining through. But then when you go to the red one, you could see what was happening. Not a clear picture. It's horrible, but it's demonstrated that what's coming through is colour, and that's what's going to give you a better colour clarity.
And without the filter too, I think it's going to use less power. I think the power saving is there as well. So that's
power. Though a 116-inch TV is still going to be
a big boy.
Quite a power sucker.
Although I did notice there was my only criticism of it was they reckon there was the pro-reflective technology. It was still...
of the TV itself, not of the RGB technology, but the TV itself.
RGB, amazing.
It was a mirror.
In dark room, beautiful, but it was still quite reflective.
Yeah,
in my review, I told him about the little, because behind the TV was the kitchen. There was like a light strip, and you could see that on the screen the whole time.
Yeah.
And even in the darker scenes, I took a photo of myself. You could see my reflection in the TV.
What were you wearing? Was it okay? Was it a Gus Gold situation?
I had my Tech Guide shirt on, my grey Tech Guide shirt on. In fact, if you look at my stories, I looked at the Samsung 115-inch in the morning, and that afternoon I did Hisense. I did them both on the same day.
Okay.
So I'm wearing the same gear in the photos. Yeah. So I took my photo next to myself with the TVs because I wanted to give you some scale.
Look, what I said was, look, forget the TV because no one we know is going to buy one unless you win Lotto. But in terms of what we're seeing here, I think this is going to be really fascinating next year because I think the battle next year is, like, again, it's another year of TVs. So I think Hisense, if they can democratise RGB mini LED, because I suspect that Samsung's RGB micro LED will be super expensive, right?
Yes.
So if they can
didn't they announce one? It's 46,000 or something.
So if they can make, let's say 85 and 100-inch TVs that are vastly more affordable than Samsung's RGB, even though Samsung's will be better because it'll have more RGBs,
more actual things. Yeah.
I think Hisense could win that battle. Do you know what I mean?
Perhaps,
because it's going to be, people are going to think of RGB as RGB, not RGB mini and micro.
Yeah.
That's going to get lost.
But I think too, let's talk about, like, it's a $40,000 TV, and good luck to you if you can afford it.
Or
right?
$22,000 if you want or it's actually 20.
There's a 100-inch one. That's right.
And for context, so it's $20,000 for the 100-inch at JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
You can buy a 100-inch TV for $4,000 up to $8,000, and they're great TVs. So you're spending more than double on this technology.
You're going over for the new tech, but I describe it as like a Hisense. They didn't make this TV to sell 100,000 of them.
No.
They made the TV to say, well, here's the future. This is the crystal ball. Look into the future. And that's what I wrote in my story, that this is an aspirational product for customers. If you look, the house they put it in, this massive mansion in Dover Heights, if you live there, you could afford that TV. But for the rest of us, this is what we can look forward to in the future. This is what's coming. This is Hisense saying, check it out. This is a taste of things to come.
All right, well, you can check it out yourself, EFTM.com and techguide.com.au for all the details of the stunning Hisense 116UX and that new RGB mini LED technology. Stephen, I think we should come back to it all over again.
Let's do it again next week, mate.
I'm happy to come back.
I might come back as well. Yeah.
See you then, buddy.
Let's do it.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.